You know that feeling when something's just, well, it doesn't sit right. It's not quite a lie, not really obvious betrayal, but just this nagging sense that you're being kind of steered.
Yeah, nudged.
Exactly. Today, we're diving deep into that really unsettling space. The subtle ways manipulation can creep into our closest relationships.
Right.
The kind that doesn't shout, but sort of whispers doubts, makes you second guess yourself.
And what's so interesting, or maybe insidious, is how these tactics often hide right out in the open.
Totally.
You know, dressed up as concern or maybe love, or sometimes just someone being a bit difficult. So yeah, we're going to unpack how these subtle actions actually feel, how they kind of take root gradually.
And why it's just so confusing when it comes from people we think or hope really care about us.
Because this isn't, you know, healthy compromise we're talking about.
No, definitely not. This is about control, but operating under the radar.
Right.
Where your choices get shaped, not through like an honest chat, but using things like guilt trips. They make you feel responsible for their feelings. Or that icy silence.
The silent treatment, yeah. Awful.
Or even that huge rush of affection that feels, I don't know, a bit much. Too fast?
Love bombing.
It's this pressure, right? It just subtly changes the game. Makes you think you're choosing freely when someone else is kind of pulling the strings.
Let's maybe look at some ways this actually plays out. Our sources, they brought up a really common one. A partner who says, oh yeah, go out with your friends, I don't mind. But the way they say it, it's just cold.
Yeah, like a wall goes up. You can almost feel the chill, the disapproval.
Exactly. You feel it.
So they've said it's okay, but their whole vibe just screams the opposite. And bang, you get hit with this wave of guilt, this feeling that, oh no, if I go, I'm going to upset them.
Even though they haven't actually said anything negative, not one word.
It's like they weaponize their own mood, their disappointment, and suddenly you're the one managing it.
Precisely. And the result. What usually happens.
Well, you probably stay home.
Right. But not because you want to stay home.
No, because you're trying to avoid their reaction, you know, trying to stop feeling guilty.
It's pure emotional manipulation, just wearing this disguise of like being understanding.
Yeah.
It's not actually permission to choose. It's a setup, a carefully laid trap.
And this stuff isn't just in romantic relationships, is it?
Yeah.
I mean, the material we looked at showed so many other sneaky ways this pops up.
Absolutely.
Guilt seems like a really big one. Those loaded phrases designed to just put you straight on the back foot. Like after everything I've done for you, instantly makes you feel indebted.
Oh, totally. It's like this emotional debt you didn't sign up for is suddenly due.
Right.
Yeah, it just bypasses any reasonable talk and goes straight for your insecurities, your desire to be, you know, a good person. Then you've got withholding, the classic silent treatment. They try to talk about something that hurt you and nothing. They just shut down.
Yeah. Instead of talking it through, resolving it, it's just silence.
And that leaves you feeling totally alone, right? And often blaming yourself for the disconnect.
Yeah, like, what did I do wrong?
It's basically punishing you with silence, denying communication as control.
Then on the flip side, you mentioned love bombing.
Right. That super intense, almost like overwhelming affection right at the start.
It feels amazing, obviously. Like, wow, soulmates found overnight.
But the sources suggest it can be a tactic, you know, to build this really strong dependency super fast.
Before you've really had a chance to see clearly.
Exactly. The key thing is the speed, the intensity. It feels too good to be true because, well, often it is.
Okay.
It's about creating this artificial high, this really intense bond, so that later, when the other stuff starts.
The manipulative stuff.
Yeah, when that surfaces, you're already hooked. You're deep in.
So you're more likely to excuse it or overlook the red flags.
Maybe. Or it creates this huge contrast with how things were, making you doubt your own read on the situation, not their inconsistency.
Wow. Okay. And then gaslighting.
Yeah.
That just sounds incredibly confusing.
It is.
Making someone doubt their own memory, their feelings, like their actual reality.
Yeah, it's like they're trying to rewrite history, your shared experiences.
How does that even work?
Well, it's systematic. They constantly deny what you know happened or how you felt.
So you start to think, maybe I am crazy.
Exactly. It makes you question your own sanity, basically, and you become more dependent on their version of things.
It just erodes your trust in yourself.
Yeah.
Fundamentally.
Makes you rely on their twisted story.
And we can't forget victim playing. That's a clever one.
Ah, yes.
Where suddenly you're the bad guy. You're the one causing the pain, even if you just tried to bring up a problem.
That phrase, "you're the one hurting me," Classic deflection.
Right. It just flips the whole thing on its head.
Completely. It lets them dodge any responsibility for what they did.
And then you end up comforting them.
Often, yes. You end up comforting the supposed victim, even though you were the one who felt wrong to begin with.
The sources had that really relatable example, too, of the friend.
Oh, the one who only calls when they need something.
Yeah. And you finally say no, you set a boundary, and bam.
What do they say?
They hit you with, wow, I thought you were a better friend than that.
Oof. Right in the guilt.
Yeah. Suddenly you're the bad friend for just, having limits or needs.
It reframes your totally reasonable no as some kind of personal failing.
Exactly. It twists it.
And that's the key thing to see there, how that boundary you tried to set gets immediately turned back on you.
Yeah.
It's designed to make you feel bad, feel selfish, so you back down.
So, okay, with all these subtle moves going on, it's really no surprise. It can be so hard to actually see manipulation when you're stuck in the middle of it.
Not at all.
It's not like people walk around with a sign, right?
Yeah.
Warning. Manipulator. Here.
Wouldn't that be easier?
Huh? Yeah. And the stuff we looked at pointed out sometimes these people aren't even, consciously evil.
That's a really important point.
They might be people who've been really hurt themselves.
Exactly. Sometimes these behaviors are, learned coping mechanisms.
A way to feel safe.
Yeah, a way for someone who felt powerless before to try and get some sense of control now in their current relationships.
Which doesn't excuse it.
No, definitely not. Understanding the possible origin doesn't excuse the impact of the behavior, but it adds context.
And love itself.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as great as it is, it can really mess with our judgment, can't it?
Oh, absolutely. Blinds us sometimes.
Especially early on when things feel intense and amazing. You just want to see the best in them.
Mm-hmm.
So you might explain away those little moments that feel off. Oh, they're just stressed, or it's temporary.
Our desire for connection, for intimacy, it can make us really vulnerable. We might ignore patterns we'd otherwise notice.
Yeah, you get so invested in the idea of the relationship, you want it to work so badly.
That you minimize the stuff that doesn't fit the picture. Consciously or unconsciously. You want the fairy tale.
And just the actual thought I'm being manipulated, that can be really hard to face.
It really can.
The sources suggested that sometimes realizing you've been controlled, that feels even worse than the manipulation itself.
There's a huge emotional cost to recognizing it. It can bring up so much stuff, shame, anger, confusion.
You're questioning yourself, right? Like, how did I not see this?
Exactly. It challenges your self-perception. So sometimes it feels easier, at least in the moment, to just deny it or play it down.
Even though that denial causes more damage long term.
Definitely.
That family example was powerful, too. Parents using guilt.
The after all we sacrificed for you.
Line. Yeah.
This is how you repay us. It's like this massive weight of obligation just dropped on you.
Mm-hmm. Crushing.
And it just suffocates your own choices, your own desires. Your decisions don't even feel like yours anymore.
That really shows how manipulation can just chip away at your autonomy, your independence.
It replaces real love and support with this feeling that you constantly owe them something.
Yeah, the sense of being forever in their debt. And that limits your freedom, stops you finding your own way. Okay, so we've kind of unpacked how these subtle things show up and why they're so tricky to spot.
Mm-hmm.
But what can we actually do if we start recognizing these patterns, maybe in our own lives?
Well, the good news is the material does shift towards solutions.
Good.
And the goal isn't about shutting down emotionally or building walls.
Right, not becoming cynical.
No, it's about developing clarity, becoming more discerning.
Okay, so how? What are the steps?
A really crucial first step is learning to tell the difference between genuine guilt.
Like when you actually did mess up.
Exactly. When you know you acted against your values or you hurt someone and you feel accountable, that's healthy guilt.
Okay.
And manipulative guilt, which is the kind that's sort of imposed on you from the outside, often without a real valid reason.
That distinction feels huge because true accountability helps you grow.
Right. But the other kind, the manipulative guilt, that's just a tool someone's using to control you, your actions, your choices.
Got it.
And the sources had a really good question for, self-reflection.
Well, what was that?
Ask yourself, does this feel like a real choice I'm making freely? Or is it mostly driven by fear of how the other person will react?
Ooh, that's powerful.
Isn't it? If your decisions are consistently about avoiding someone's anger, or their sulking, or them withdrawing...
That's a massive red flag.
Huge. It tells you something's off in the power dynamic.
And we really need to listen to those gut feelings too, right? That little sense of unease or hesitation.
Definitely. The material really emphasized that. Manipulation often lives in that discomfort zone.
If something feels off, trust that feeling.
Yeah, our intuition is often way ahead of our logical brain in these situations. Learning to trust those subtle cues, feeling pressured, feeling subtly controlled, that's a vital skill.
And here's something really important from our sources, too. If you have experienced manipulation, it doesn't mean you're weak or stupid or anything.
Absolutely not. It means your trust was misused.
Yeah. It actually speaks to your ability to empathize, to connect, qualities that manipulators, sadly, often exploit.
That validation is so, so important. Manipulators often target people who are kind and caring.
So it's not a reflection on you.
Not on your character flaws, no.
Yep.
It says much more about the other person's tactics.
So the big takeaway here, maybe, is just recognizing these subtle games, seeing them for what they are. That's the first most critical step.
That's how you start taking your power back.
And build healthier connections down the line.
Exactly. Once you start identifying the patterns, you begin to kind of dismantle their hold over you. Awareness really is the key. It starts everything.
So if any of this stuff we've talked about today has felt familiar, if you ever felt that that twist of guilt or that weight of someone's unspoken disapproval, please know you're definitely not alone in feeling that.
These subtle dynamics, they're playing out all over the place. In so many relationships.
Yeah.
Maybe take some time, reflect on the interactions in your own life. What's really driving your choices?
Is it what you genuinely want? Or is it maybe the subtle pull of someone else's hidden strengths?